I'm here with Son of Man, a 1964 surrealist painting by Belgian artist René Magritte. So tell me, sir, what exactly is surrealism?
Well, Surrealism is an art style born in the 20th century as an evolution of the Dada movement. From what I understand, Dada means rocking horse in the French language. That being said, the art is meant to be something absurd. Surrealism can have nonsensical subject matter at times, but really, we like to say it's an expression of the subconscious mind.
And where do these ideas about the subconscious mind come from?
Poet Andrew Breton published the influential Manifesto of Surrealism, where he focused on Freud's theory of the human mind being in conflict between the rational and irrational modes of thinking. Many surrealists took this as a cue to liberate their minds, so to speak, and began to break free of rational thinking. Although these speculations began in the 1930s, they continued well into the 1960s as well.
I see. So is there more than one type of surrealism? What type of surrealist art would you be?
There aren't types so much as techniques. A lot of surrealist artists use something called automatism, which is the juxtaposition of images to unleash the subconscious. I like to say that I'm a product of automatism. I mean, I'm wearing a suit and I have an apple obscuring my face. What's more juxtaposed than that?
Glad you brought that up. Could you elaborate on this? Why an apple?
Well, like I said, Magritte liked to put contrasting images together, especially everyday objects, fruit, clothing, etc.
Well, surely it all must mean something. Is it a biblical reference by any chance? A self-portrait?
Its original intention was as a self-portrait, but really, it is what it is. Magritte wanted his images to be looked at, and not so much looked into, you know? He wants people to see the art and not overanalyze it as to keep it real, tangible meaning. Magritte's not going to leave you interpreting. He's just going to make you think.
That's quite a perspective. So if it is what it is with Magritte, then what's the meaning behind you?
Well, think about it. I'm wearing an incredibly dapper suit and you can't see my face. Just think. Just look.
I don't know what the suit has to do with anything, but
Go on.
because the apple is in front of your face is nearly hidden. Magritte is using what we see to hide something that we want to see. It's like a conflict between what is visible and what is also visible, but still hidden.
Exactly. I think you get the picture.
Indeed I do. This has been Billy Britton with Magritte's Son of Man, signing off.
Bonjour, madame. What a lovely portrait you have here. Do tell me, what is your name?
Bonjour. My name is Madame Marguerite Charpentier. Enchantée.
And who, might I ask, are these precious creatures with whom you sit?
These are my children. This is Paul, and our oldest, Georgette, named for her father, Georges, and of course our grand chien, Milou.
So, madame, why are you sitting for this portrait?
Well, monsieur, my husband George and I have requested this portrait, as well as many others, to be painted for our collection. We are great art collectors and we believe that Pierre's work is quite fine, so we have recently added his works as well as many others to the new artists.
Pierre? Who is Pierre?
Pierre-Auguste Renoir, one of today's great artists. He exhibits his pieces in the Impressionist salons and he's been featured in my husband's magazine, La Vie Moderne.
Impressionist? Could you explain Impressionism to me, please?
Monsieur, Impressionism is a new style of painting. Artists like Renoir were tired with romanticism and realism and wanted to depict life as it is. Instead of looking back at the past to depict the present, Impressionist artists simply depict the present, the fleeting light, the transience of life. In their works, these artists use natural light and bright colors to create a carefree and emotionally energized atmosphere. Many artists, such as Renoir, painted en plein air or in plein air, as these paintings always featured outdoors, whether it be rivers, parks, gardens, or beaches.
This Impressionism sounds like it heavily influenced by the natural world. So what makes it portraits so desirable?
These are portraits unlike any others. They capture the modern world, the moment in which the portrait is made. In Renoir's portrait, for example, we are not posed, sitting rigidly draped and crowded by copious amounts of fabric, fruit, and jewels. No, we sit on our couch, my son playfully squirming next to me while my daughter sits on the back of our sleeping dog. Even I, the mother, the matriarch of the scene, seems relaxed, my arm casually draped along the frame of the couch, looking not at the artist, but happily towards my smiling children. Like many other portraits painted in the Impressionist style, all of the formalities of the modeling have disappeared. The subjects appear more natural, more comfortable in their settings. Nothing is posed. Everything is captured with the essence of life and light.
So it's easy to say that this is the new way of portraiture, that it is popular?
Yes, it was Georges and I like to call la vie moderne. Many artists, aside from Renoir, have painted many beautiful portraits, such as Manet, Morisot, Cassatt, Gauguin, and Degas. So oui, monsieur, it is very popular. Now excusez-moi, my children are calling. Action. Today, we are here with the famous Spanish Baroque artist, Diego Velázquez. He is here to talk to us about his inclusion in one of his well-known paintings, Las Meninas, also known as the Maids of Honor. Thank you, Velázquez, for taking time in your busy schedule to talk to us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us a little bit about your painting. Who is being painted?
Well, first off, the subject of the painting is King Philip II and his wife's daughter, La Infanta Margarita, surrounded by her maids in waiting. I painted myself in the painting as if I was painting the scene that you have seen before you. The king and the queen are visible in the mirror, which is located in the back of the painting.
Why did you decide to include yourself in the painting?
I included myself because I'm good friends with King Philip II, and I thought that I was very proud of my art. I wanted to sign my artwork like other artists do, but instead of including my signature, I wanted to include myself.
When I first saw this painting, I felt as if I was standing in the very space of the royal family because of the reflection of the king and queen in the mirror in the background. Was this your intention?
Yes, that was my intention.
I seem to notice your use of a reflection image, including yourself with a brush in hand, is similar to Jan van Eyck's double portrait of a Giovanni Arnolfini and his wife. Was he in your inspiration?
Now that you mention it, some of my symbolic inclusions are very similar to Jan van Eyck's the double portrait of a Giovanni Arnolfini and his wife, a part of the Spanish royal collection. I must have seen it and subconsciously used the technique.
LOL!
What does that mean?
Laugh out loud.
Why don't you just laugh then?
I don't know. Well, what kind of methods did you use in creating this work of art?
I used some underdrawing, loosely applied paint in layers to build up my forms, and took some light to neutral colors to highlight the surface. I didn't use light to model volumes in my painting. I'm a rebel like that.
That you are. I'm curious, what does this painting mean to you?
Although this is a royal portrait, this is also a self-portrait of myself. I'm sure everyone seeks to be respected by their peers at some point in their lives. I was able to get that feeling by painting myself into this masterpiece, dressing as a courtier, adding the Order of Santiago on my chest, and placing the keys of the Spanish palace into my sash. Oh, BTW, this might be one of my last paintings.
What?
Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm going to die soon. Okay, it's nice meeting you.
Wait! Don't just say that and leave. We have to end the show.
Okay, my life is fleeting.
It was a pleasure meeting you, and I hope to see many more of your magnificent artworks. Behold, in all her majesty, the Virgin Mary, the Queen of the heavens, seated upon her throne, and flanked by her loyal servants, the angels, and the precious Christ-child, who simply sits on her lap, and so delicately, so tenderly telling the world that with his birth comes peace.
Isn't she lovely?
Dear angel, could you tell our viewers about this lovely little scene here?
Well, Sir Interviewer.
It's Johnny English.
Right. Well, this is Chimabue's Virgin and Child enthroned. Here in the center, as you previously stated, is the Queen of Heaven herself and her child, Jesus Christ. The Virgin is seated in an extraordinary throne of gold and jewels, and is acting as a throne for her son, who sits on her lap as she presents him to the congregation. A genuine Theotokos.
Theotokos? What is that per se?
Mary as the throne of wisdom. She is the base, the foundation for her son's growth. She will teach him, will love him, and will care for him. She will nurture him as she becomes our Savior. She is the throne of wisdom.
Wow! Well, that makes sense. So, have an explanation for all this gold? It is quite a luminescent scene you have here.
Of course! It is a holy light of the heavens, and the Virgin and Child themselves. Also, many artists, such as the great Cimabue, used gold in their backgrounds and for the highlights to indicate areas that would normally be in shadow. It is called Manera Greca, a style influenced by the mosaics of the great Byzantine Empire. The portrait is laced with every ounce of gold leaf paint, just as the Byzantine mosaics used gold tiles.
Portrait? You say that this is a portrait? Please, do tell me what makes this piece a portrait. Altarpiece? Yes, but portrait?
Well, of course it's an altarpiece. We are living in the Proto-Renaissance. It is very common in this age for wealthy families to commission these pieces for the private chapels and even sometimes their homes, in order to prove their devotion to God and all of the glorious creations. These patrons would pray to these altarpieces, believing that they actually held Mary's spirit within them. These altarpieces, specifically this version of the Virgin and Child enthroned, had to be portraits of Mary and Jesus because it needed to make the patron feel as if he or she was communicating directly to the Virgin, not just an altarpiece.
Splendid! This whole idea makes perfect sense. The people of the Proto-Renaissance were influenced heavily by religion, Christianity in particular. This wonderful masterpiece is worshipped by hundreds of churchgoers, and in order to promote devout prayer, needed to incarnate the people's image of Mary.
Silence! The Virgin, she speaks. Stoneman Carey, first of all, we want to thank you for taking time out of your royal schedule to talk to us.
Oh, don't sweat it.
So, I see that you and your queen seem to be very happy. Can you tell me a little bit more about your relationship?
Well, of course, we have a very strong and supportive bond, despite the fact that we are two people. We truly form one everlasting unit. My beautiful queen really does mean a lot to me, and that's why it is so important that this is well remembered for all of eternity in this way.
I hear you saying that it's important for you to be remembered just as this for all eternity. Why the obsession with preservation and permanence?
Well, who doesn't want to live on in complete perfection forever, remembered by all until the end of time, as a true God should be? I wouldn't have it any other way. After all, I guess you could say it's a bit of a family tradition. For generations and generations, each divine member of my family has made sure that they would not only live on forever, but also that each of our Kas be able to inhabit the statues we make, and live on forever as well.
Can you tell me more about the Ka and the Ka statues?
So I believe that the Ka is the soul of a person, and that when they die, the Ka lives on in the afterlife. However, the Ka is so capable of traveling between the two worlds, being the underworld and the worlds of the living, and also can go inside the Ka statue that is built. The Ka statue, such as this one, of me and my beautiful queen, is meant to have an eternal gaze, partly for the reason that we will be able to always look out at the world through our Ka statues, to see the living world, and to accept the offerings that are given. Really, the idea of the Ka once again recalls the main idea of permanence, and that it allows us to live on forever. Just the basic materials used to create the Ka statues being materials such as diorite and granite, as well as the fact that there are no negative spaces, stress the focus on durability rather than aesthetics.
But how does the Ka relate to the pyramid burial sites?
Oh, the pyramids, such as mine at Giza, next to the pyramids of Khufu and Khafre, relate back to the Ka and the afterlife, the intended homes for the Ka, but also work to assert Pharaoh's power, connection to the gods, and their everlasting legacy of dominance and superiority. So really, it's all about permanence.
So does this permanence you speak of also have to do with your rigid and idealized stance?
I need to be remembered and promoted as godly. I am certainly no commoner. I am of divine blood. Values of calculated perfection, youth, and wealth are what my people consider to be truly powerful, superior, and divine, and I aspire to be no less. Well, I really should be returning to my eternal gaze right about now. You might want to try and avoid the traps on the way out. Oh yeah, good luck with that.